Hello folks, and welcome. Linux Mint 22 Cinnamon, the latest version from the Linux Mint team. I'm going to talk a little bit about applets and troubleshooting. I've also heard folks that inadvertently remove this and don't know how to fix that because it reappears over here. And also why moving these over here is a bad idea. A little bit of troubleshooting and applets today. I think every user should be at least familiar with applets and how they work as far as your panel bar is concerned. I'm filming in 1920 by 1080. Welcome folks. Subscription key is in the corner. 400 plus videos and growing. All of my videos are also keyword indexed. In either case, folks, I do recommend watching all of my videos on large screens. Mobile devices are usually way too small, like 6-inch screens. That kind of thing. So I'm going to talk about applets. That actually is an applet. These are your applications. You know, the things that you make shortcuts to. Whether you drag them from this menu, such as doing that, or whether you right-click and add to panel. These are just toys that you can click and drag and move them around without any extra stuff. These, on the other hand, when you try to click and drag, they don't move. They just activate. But you can right-click and do a lot of different things with applets. So I'm going to first start on the approach of making a mess out of things. So what I'm going to do is first delete that icon. Because I've already heard this has happened to several people because they inadvertently were playing. Anytime you are doing anything to do with your panel bar, I do recommend screenshots. And then if you are watching videos like this, I don't recommend skipping over things. All right, right click, panel. You have 3 zones. The left, the center, and the right zone. All of my numbers are different than yours. So the left zone controls this text, which is not placed in here. That text is placed by right-clicking on the Mint icon and hitting configure. So this part here is coming from this. Let me give you a demo on that. I'm going to click default. You can probably tell how big that text is now. That's coming from another setup. So all of this stuff is like integrated, if you want to call it play together. So this is default. Allow theme to determine font size. Now you do have some controls in your system settings to increase that font, and you can carry it a little bit further here. So I'm going to use 16. You can do the same thing with the time and date. You can see it's very small. I'm going to switch that to the right zone. That is default. I also am going to do the same thing with that one. All of a sudden that became, well, a little bigger. So going back to the left zone, your colored icon sizes are these. I'm going to make that as 16. Then I'm going to turn that to a 48. On the right zone, you have symbolic icon sizes of 48. And more importantly, I'll put this to 16. They became very small except for my open program, Simple Screen Recorder. I don't know if you can see that, but these are pretty dinky in my book. Now what is this setting here? This is the height of the panel. It doesn't matter where we're talking about, it's the height of the panel here and here and here. So if I go the opposite direction, you can see that I have very, very limited areas in here. But this accommodated that for this size 16 symbolic. I'm going to crank this up because it's normally in the center. I think it's 40 actually, but I'll make it even bigger. I'll go 53. And then for the symbolic icon, now I'm going to be a little bit below 53. So we can call it 48 if you like. Enter. These became a little bigger. So understand that this is broken down in 3 sections. Now I also changed the center zone to 48, 48. And I left that there about the fonts because they're normally not talking fonts in the center, generally. generally. However, there is a setting, if you dig deep enough, where you can have text right next to your icons, which takes up a lot of real estate on your panel bar. But I'm not going to do that in this video. So left zone, center zone, right zone. So really we're just talking about these two zones currently. So I'm going to eliminate this Linux Mint, but before I actually wanted to let you see the icon sizes and how tall that box is. Right click, Applets. It's called Menu. I'm going to remove it because I heard someone did this and they panicked. They couldn't figure out how to put that back. Even if I press my start key, nothing happens. Normally when you press your start key, the Mint menu opens if that's functional on your keyboard. When you reactivate that applet, because that is exactly what this is, the Mint menu is an applet. This is Cinemenu, not to be confused with the other one. The Cinemenu is also an applet, but it's not part of your system applets. This one cannot be removed. This one can. So the Cinemenu is the Mint icon. Now when I hit plus, it'll appear over here. So again, this is broken down in 3 zones. Your left, center, and right. And since these are applets, when you activate applets, they appear to the left of your last icon on the right zone. In other words, next to this A and 1. Okay, basically I'll show you what that icon does in a minute. Let me eliminate Cinemenu just by uninstalling it. And then I'm also going to eliminate another applet. So basically we have downloads and manage, right? I'm going to clear that so you can see the full menu. So I'm going to click in here and just erase that. So this is an install applet right here, and I'm going to actually remove that one too. And I'll talk about that one actually. Where's your Mint menu now? It's over here. Right back to default size, including the icons. These are set for 22, and I'll show you those in a minute. These 2 categories, for instance. And I lost my logo and I lost all the settings on it. But the Mint menu is not gone, is what I'm getting at. But to recover from this, to put it back in the corner, requires you to turn this on. The panel edit mode. You can certainly click the settings box also to do this with. All right, you get a little green shading here. The easiest way to do this, like I said, is to right click in the center where there's nothing, and then panel edit mode. And once you see that green shade, that means you can move icons around. I don't recommend moving these over here. It will make a big mess, and it'll be hard to put them back actually. But it can be done. I've done it before and it makes a big mess sometimes. But more importantly, I'm going to pick up this Mint icon and I'm going to put it in the corner. Please be aware there's a tiny bar here. Okay, I'm going to try to get it behind that bar. If you can see that, this is a bar. I have it in my hand right now. That tiny bar I'm moving. I'm going to let go of it. Okay. Over here you have the same thing. There's another bar at the very end called Show Desktop. Now I'm going to turn this off for a second and I'm going to reconfigure this one more time. First I'm going to make it taller. Click with your mouse. If you're using a touchpad, these are very sensitive. And right click, configure. I'm going to make the icon bigger because it was bigger before. I'm going to write the word LM22 Cinnamon. Again, filming in 1080. And one more time, I really don't recommend watching my videos on mobile screens. They're usually way too small for text like this. Also, I recommend a lot of these things you use screenshots before you play, so you know what the thing was before and after. 22, 22, 32 are the standard icon sizes that you see here. I had it set bigger before, didn't I? Yeah, I had it at 42, 42, and I think I had it at 52. All this stuff, and hit enter on that last one. All this stuff is subjected to your screen resolution or your visual experience. You can make them bigger if you like. You can also resize the box up to that, but that's your maximum range. You can also bring it down, but I don't think you would want to do that with big icons like this. Now, once I got this figured and I actually want to move it on purpose instead of deleting it, right-click, edit mode. Now I'm going to literally pick it up and throw it in the corner. And there is where that show desktop bar that I was referring to earlier. This one is fatter than this tiny one on this side. And the only way you can really see this is on your desktop, not mine. Because even if you are watching this in full screen on YouTube, unless you're watching this on a 40+ inch screen, you may not even see that. In either case, this is my new home for Mint Menu, but I can't click it until I turn this off. You need to turn the panel edit mode off anytime you do stuff like this. Would I leave the system like this? Probably not. I'm just showing you you can. If I wanted to put this in between these icons, I can also do the same and turn this off. I have my volume in between my calendar and my network thing, and you get the idea. Now this is my new Mint menu. Can I also put new icons here? Yeah, I'm going to unpin a couple of them. I'm just dragging it across. And sometimes when you do that, you'll get a remnants of this. That's okay. It goes away after you log in and out, or right-click, troubleshoot, restart Cinnamon. It's just a remnants. That's why I don't recommend doing a lot of this kind of stuff, but I'm just showing you you can. Right-click, edit, pick it up, try to get it behind that little tiny line. This one, if you're using text. Right-click, off. Do you like the date over here, or would you put the date somewhere else? All right, I got the remnants box, that's okay. We're gonna restart Cinnamon again. And restarting Cinnamon is not like logging in and out. It just restarts the interface. You can do that at any time. I'm not going to edit this video. Right click, pick up the time. I can stick it over here and turn this off. Time and date is over here. I'm going to put it over here now. Would I recommend doing this? No. But I'm just showing you you can. It's very confusing to some folks to do what I'm doing here. But I'm just showing you if you did move stuff on accident, how you can recover from that. Putting the date back in the corner, I usually like to just bounce it around a little bit, and then you'll see that volume just move out of the way for a second. And more importantly, there's a bar here, the show desktop bar. All right. We can also move these independently. Right click. Some move as a set, like these. And some move independently, like this one. This is favorites. And it only shows if you got a favorite turned on. These are what I call smart icons. Right click, you'll see some of them disappear. So in here in your Mint menu, you'll see there's no favorites currently. If you were to open up your file manager and let's take pictures, right click and make it a favorite, add to favorites, you will see a star icon wherever you placed it. Again, I can move that around. This is a shortcut to pictures. You'll also see in your Mint menu favorites because it requires one or more. So if you got another favorite, let's do documents. Then I have two shortcuts. One to documents, one to pictures. Very simple. If you did not know that that existed. Right click, Applets. Now let's talk about general knowledge of Applets. I don't know what yours is, and I'm going to treat it like you're a brand new user. So these lock symbols means that you cannot remove the applet, but you can deactivate and activate them. example of accessibility, I can turn that on, and it shows up on the left side of the right zone. I'm coming back to this again. Right zone is where these are. Left zone is this zone, and then the center is in here. We're kind of encroaching on that zone with all these icons. More importantly, the accessibility options has no options. It can only be turned on and off. But when you click it, you have large text as one example, screen reader, high contrast, and etc. We can also remove the applet by removing, and you'll get a confirmation notice on your screen. It turns that off. Okay. So I have a lot of things over here that I'm going to actually unpin, so it's not so long of that. So I have a little bit of real estate in here. So a lot of things need to be there. You want your calendar showing? You probably do. And what happens when I deactivate and re-enable? It moves over here to the left of my last icon on the right zone. So if I do this inadvertently, by mistake, it's no time and date. Now I have time and date, but it's in the wrong place because I deactivated it. That's okay, I can fix that. Right click, pick it up, stick it in the corner, and again, get it right in between that volume thing and that over here, if that's your icon there. I can also move these around. All right, so let's go back to Applets. So basically what I'm getting at, if you see a check mark, it's active. It possibly could be showing or maybe not. As in the case of favorites, if you do not have any favorites, I'm going to remove them again. It removes the star and removes the category because favorites is still active, but there's nothing to show. So that's why I gave this a nickname called Smart Icons. It's just my nickname for them. All right, so basically you have a lot of these with lock symbols all over the place. There's a couple of them I don't recommend turning off. That would be one of them. Your Mint menu is another one. There's a whole bunch of these in here. And this is the Mint menu. That's this icon. This one I do not recommend unless you mean to actually turn it off and re-enable it, because it will re-enable over here, not here. This is the same setup box as if I right-click on that icon, just like I did earlier. There's no difference in here. It's the same dialog box. So we have a lot of toys that we can install. Some people may not like to add extra applets, but some people do. We have them sorted by popularity, name, date, and installed and upgradable. So if you need to know something about an applet, you can click that and hit the light bulb. It goes to Cinnamon Spices, providing you're online. And you can read all about it, as one would say. So a lot of you folks may not know what a cinnamon menu is, so I'm going to install that. Installs in a couple seconds. But I need to activate it. So at the top, I'm going to hit plus. And where does it put the icon? Right next to this one. Because it again, when you activate Applets, it's right zone, this side, last icon to the left. So this can be configured here, and it will only configure if you have this active. I cannot click on the gear symbol now because it's not active. It doesn't have a check mark. So the add makes it visible, if you want to call it that. I can configure it here, and it's got a whole bunch of settings. Or I can turn this off and configure it here. So one of the things I'm going to do is change the icon. So I'm going to turn on a custom icon. Well, it's not really a custom icon unless you browse, but custom icon as far as the system is concerned. These are system icons, but it's still, the setting is called custom icon. All right, I'm going to change it to that one. Now you can see the icon change. And I'm going to change this panel text from menu to my stuff. You can put whatever verbiage you want. Okay. The other thing to be aware of is you can change the category, application list icon size, grid icon size, and sidebar. This is what I'm referring to. So this is like a second Mint menu. And you can really make this large. You can also take this whole line and put it on the top. Example of that would be, I will change the sidebar location from bottom to top. One little bitty change. Now my power button's at the top, and so is the search feature. So I can also right click, panel edit, pick it up, and move it into the corner. Right click and turn off. Now I have a Mint menu here and a Mint menu here. Just something for food for thought. So what happens when you turn these off though? See, I have the search bar at the top and the size of this box is if I turn the applet off and back on again, it'll reappear here with the basic menu. All of the settings that I just made are forfeit. I have to redo them. They are not hard to change, but just wanted to let you see it returns to default. So even if you made a mess of things in this configuration settings, you can always just turn it on and off. We can also remove this. This is not like your regular Cinnamon menu. It's an applet, but a different kind of an applet. This is more of a system applet. Remember, it can't be removed, but it can be deactivated. So right click, I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to type in caps for the caps lock indicator made by BetterLock. Okay, so in either case, you need to turn these on to see them. So even though you install it and you activated it, you will only see a bar flicker. And most people will think it's defective. It is not. Okay, you do not see it. So I'm going to press my caps lock key and you can see this symbol on. Now where is this one coming from? Right click, system settings. Accessibility option, keyboard. This is normally off by default. I'm going to turn it off to default. That's off by default. I am pressing my caps lock key. Nothing is happening. I'm going to press my numeric lock and you don't see anything. Now I'm going to turn this setting on in addition to another applet. So visual indicator, pressing the caps lock key. It gives me a post-it note, then it goes away. And the notification size is also changeable, by the way. Not to get ahead of things, but it's done with a media key size of medium. I'm going to make that large. Caps lock key. Numeric lock key. But it doesn't stay. So you really don't know what state it's in if you don't have any LEDs on your keyboard. However, when I activate this applet, but it's already active, why isn't it showing? That's because you need to configure this. Not all applets are like this, but I am going to turn this on. Show caps lock indicator, I get an A, and the numeric lock is that one. If you want the scroll lock, then you can turn that on also. I'm just showing you two examples. Now when I press the caps lock, that post-it note goes away. This is just a notification. That'll also disappear, but this stays lit up. Just before you open up a web browser, do you want the caps lock on? You probably don't. Now it tells me it's off. Numeric lock, the same. So these are helpful applets in my book. We have lots of toys similar to this. Way too many for me to get into. But it's the same thing, just giving you some tips on applets and how they behave and how to move some of these elements around. I don't recommend moving this over to here. It is possible, yes, but they act really strange and they blend and it'll confuse you. My suggestion is leave the menu just like this way. If you have the inkling of moving that, you can. If you are wanting to move these icons around, you can. Same thing with the time and date. But like I said, just be aware of these things. And hopefully you'll rewatch my video in case you get into trouble. I would hate to have you reinstall the whole system because you did not watch the whole video in its entirety. There's a lot going on with your panel bar. Thank you for watching.